On March 22, 2025, the Pentagon made a stunning announcement that would demonstrate America's incredible naval power. The USS Carl Vinson carrier strike group, which had been conducting routine operations with South Korean and Japanese forces near the Korean Peninsula, received urgent orders within hours. This massive floating city carrying over 7,500 personnel was racing across the Pacific Ocean toward the Middle East. But here is what shocked military experts worldwide. The Carl Vinson and its escort ships were expected to cover thousands of miles of ocean and arrive in the Middle East in just 2 to 3 weeks. That is a 97,000-ton nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, along with destroyers, cruisers, and support vessels moving as one coordinated force across the globe faster than most people drive to work. This is not just about one ship. The United States Navy maintains a system so advanced that they can surge 6 complete carrier strike groups anywhere in the world within just 30 days. Each of these floating fortresses carries enough firepower to rival entire nations' air forces. And when Rear Admiral Paul Lenzalata commanded the Gerald R. Ford Strike Group in 2025, he made a statement that left military observers amazed. Within one day, we can move this whole strike group 700+ miles today. We are diving deep into the incredible speed and precision of America's carrier strike group deployments. You will discover exactly how the world's most powerful Navy can project force anywhere on Earth faster than you might think possible. The ability to rapidly deploy aircraft carrier strike groups represents one of America's most significant strategic advantages. These are not just ships. They are complete military ecosystems that can establish air superiority, conduct combat operations, and provide humanitarian aid wherever they are needed. But the real question that keeps military strategists around the world awake at night is this: just how quickly can these massive naval formations actually reach any point on the globe? The answer involves cutting-edge logistics, decades of strategic planning, and capabilities that most nations can only dream of possessing the secret. Behind America's rapid deployment capability lies in something called the Fleet Response Plan. This is not just military jargon, it is a carefully orchestrated system that keeps our naval forces in a constant state of readiness that would make other nations envious. Here is how it works, and the numbers will astound you. At any given moment, the U.S. Navy maintains what they call a 3+3+1 formation. That means 3 carrier strike groups are actively deployed around the world. 3 more are ready to deploy within 30 days of receiving orders, and 1 additional group can be prepared for deployment within 90 days. But that is not where it ends. The Fleet Response Plan actually allows the Navy to surge 6 complete carrier strike groups within just 30 days, with a 7th group ready within 90 days. Think about that for a moment. That is potentially over 50,000 sailors and Marines, hundreds of advanced aircraft, and enough naval firepower to control entire regions of the ocean, all mobilized in less time than it takes most people to plan a vacation. This system has been tested in real-world scenarios, and the results speak for themselves. During the October 7, 2023 Hamas attacks on Israel, the U.S. Navy demonstrated exactly why this readiness matters. The USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group was immediately ordered to the Eastern Mediterranean, while other strike groups repositioned across the globe to fill the gaps left behind. The coordination required for this level of readiness is mind-boggling. Every carrier, every destroyer, every support vessel exists within this carefully balanced system, where maintenance schedules, training cycles, and operational deployments are synchronized like a Swiss watch. Now let's talk about what happens once these strike groups start moving, because the speeds they can achieve will change how you think about naval warfare forever. Modern Nimitz-class aircraft carriers can sustain speeds of 35 miles per hour across open ocean. That might not sound impressive until you realize we are talking about an 1,100-foot-long floating city that weighs 97,000 tons. When fully loaded at maximum speed, these carriers can reach anywhere within a 700-square-mile area. In just 30 minutes, extend that to 90 minutes, and they can cover over 6,000 square miles. But here is where it gets truly remarkable when Admiral Lanzalotta spoke about moving his entire strike group 700-plus miles in a single day. He was not just talking about the carrier. He was referring to the entire formation. Destroyers, cruisers, supply ships, and submarines all moving together as one coordinated unit. This coordination is crucial because a carrier never travels alone. Each strike group includes at least one Ticonderoga-class cruiser armed with Tomahawk missiles, multiple Arleigh Burke-class destroyers equipped with advanced radar and missile systems, and often a nuclear attack submarine operating beneath the surface. The entire formation must move together while maintaining defensive positions and communication links. The logistics of keeping such a formation supplied while moving at high speed across thousands of miles of ocean is an achievement that showcases American naval engineering at its finest. Supply ships conduct what is called replenishment at sea, transferring fuel, food, ammunition, and spare parts while both vessels maintain course and speed. Let us examine some recent examples that prove just how quickly these deployments actually happen in real-world situations, because the numbers from 2025 will shock you. In March 2025, the USS Carl Vinson Strike Group received orders to immediately depart its operations near South Korea and head to the Middle East to join ongoing operations against Houthi forces in Yemen. Military officials confirmed that the transit time would be 2 to 3 weeks. This meant covering approximately 8,000 miles of ocean while maintaining combat readiness and coordinating with international maritime traffic. But even more impressive was what happened with the USS Nimitz Strike Group. As of June 2025, this carrier group was operating in the South China Sea. When it received urgent orders to proceed to the Middle East, the Nimitz canceled a planned port visit to Vietnam and began what military sources called a rush deployment to Central Command's area of responsibility. The HMS Prince of Wales provided an even more dramatic example of rapid deployment capability during NATO's Steadfast Defender 2024 exercise. The Royal Navy's HMS Queen Elizabeth experienced propeller shaft problems and could not participate. HMS Prince of Wales, which was in maintenance and normally required 30 days' notice to sail, was hastily prepared and deployed as a replacement. In just 8 days, this British achievement demonstrates that America's allies are also developing impressive rapid deployment capabilities. Perhaps the most telling example came from the USS Harry S. Truman Strike Group's deployment pattern throughout 2024 and 2025. This group deployed in September 2024 operated in the Red Sea for months, conducting combat operations against Houthi forces, briefly departed for repairs in Greece after a collision with a merchant ship, then returned to combat operations. The entire deployment lasted well over the typical 6 to 8 months, demonstrating the flexibility and endurance these strike groups possess currently. As of July 2025, the U.S. Navy has multiple strike groups positioned strategically around the globe. The USS George Washington operates from its forward deployed base in Yokosuka, Japan. The USS Carl Vinson continues operations in U.S. Central Command. After its rapid redeployment, the USS Gerald R. Ford is conducting operations in the Adriatic Sea with Italian Navy allies, while the USS Nimitz operates in the South China Sea. What makes American carrier deployment so effective is not just the speed. It is the strategic positioning that gives our forces unmatched global reach. The United States maintains what military experts call forward presence in key regions around the world. This means there is always at least one carrier strike group positioned in the Western Pacific operating from Japan, and typically another in the Middle East or Mediterranean. This forward positioning cuts deployment times dramatically because American forces are already closer to potential trouble spots. The forward deployed USS George Washington, home-ported in Yokosuka, Japan, represents a perfect example of this strategy. This carrier and its strike group can respond to threats anywhere in the Western Pacific, South China Sea, or Indian Ocean within days rather than weeks when North Korea conducted missile tests. In 2025, the George Washington Strike Group was already in position to conduct joint exercises with South Korean and Japanese forces. This positioning strategy also allows for what the Navy calls presence operations. These are not combat missions, but rather shows of force that demonstrate American commitment to allies and deter potential adversaries. When the Carl Vinson strike group visited Busan, South Korea in early 2025, it sent a clear message about American resolve in the region. The flexibility of this system became evident during the recent Middle East tensions, with multiple carrier groups already positioned in or near the region. The U.S. could maintain continuous presence, even while rotating individual ships for maintenance and crew rest. The USS Harry S. Truman completed its deployment and returned home, while the USS Carl Vinson seamlessly took over operations without any gap in coverage. This is not just about military might. It is about maintaining stability in international waters that handle over 90% of global trade. When these carrier groups patrol shipping lanes through the Red Sea Strait of Malacca or Persian Gulf, they are protecting the economic lifelines that keep the global economy functioning. But what happens when a real crisis erupts, and America needs to deploy maximum naval power as quickly as possible? This is where the true genius of American naval planning becomes apparent. The Fleet Response Plan's surge capability means that in a genuine emergency, the United States Navy can put more carrier-based firepower to sea than the rest of the world. Combined 6 carrier strike groups within 30 days means roughly 42,000 sailors and Marines, over 400 advanced aircraft, and hundreds of Tomahawk cruise missiles, all deployable faster than most nations can mobilize their entire military. This surge capability was partially tested during events like Summer Pulse 2004, when the Navy demonstrated it could deploy multiple carrier groups simultaneously. While that exercise had some limitations, it proved the basic concept works. More recent real-world deployments have shown even greater capability during the height of tensions with Iran. In 2025, the Pentagon quietly positioned 2 carrier strike groups in the Central Command area of responsibility. Simultaneously, the USS Carl Vinson and USS Nimitz were both operating in or near the Middle East, providing an overwhelming concentration of American naval power that sent unmistakable signals to potential adversaries. The technological advancement supporting these capabilities continues to evolve. The Navy's newest concept involves what they call plug-and-play destroyer rotations. This means that fresh destroyers and cruisers can join an already deployed carrier group, without the entire strike group returning to port. The USS Gerald R. Ford tested this concept when the destroyers USS The Sullivans and USS Delbert D. Black joined the group mid-deployment, allowing the original escorts to return home for maintenance while the carrier remained on station. This flexibility extends deployment endurance while maintaining combat capability, instead of bringing entire strike groups home when individual ships need maintenance. The Navy can now swap out components of the group, keeping the carrier and its aircraft continuously available for operations. The speed and efficiency of carrier deployments continues to improve thanks to technological innovations that would have been science fiction. Just decades ago, modern nuclear-powered carriers like the USS Gerald R. Ford class represent the cutting edge of naval technology. These ships require several hundred fewer crew members than previous carriers while carrying more aircraft and advanced systems. Fewer crew members means easier logistics, faster deployment preparation, and reduced supply requirements during long-distance transits. The integration of advanced satellite communications and real-time intelligence sharing means that strike groups can receive and act on information instantaneously, no matter where they are in the world. When the HMS Prince of Wales was conducting operations in the Indo-Pacific during 2025, an F-35B fighter from the carrier had to make an emergency landing at the Ravananthapuram International Airport in India within hours. Technical teams were coordinating the aircraft's recovery from halfway around the world, demonstrating the global support network that enables rapid deployments. Artificial intelligence and automated systems are beginning to revolutionize naval operations. Predictive maintenance systems can anticipate equipment problems before they occur, reducing the likelihood of mechanical failures during high-speed transits. Advanced weather routing systems help strike groups find the fastest and safest paths across vast ocean distances. The development of unmanned systems promises to extend carrier capabilities even further. The Navy is experimenting with drone-based refueling surveillance and even combat aircraft that can operate from carrier decks. These systems could potentially allow carriers to project power over even greater distances without requiring traditional support. Aircraft supply chain innovations continue to reduce the logistical burden of long-distance deployments. Advanced materials reduce the weight and volume of spare parts, while 3D printing capabilities allow ships to manufacture replacement components at sea, rather than waiting for supply ships or port visits. The ability of American aircraft carrier strike groups to deploy anywhere in the world within weeks or to surge multiple groups within 30 days represents one of the most impressive military capabilities in human history. From the USS Carl Vinson's rapid redeployment from the Pacific to the Middle East in 2025, to the HMS Prince of Wales being readied for emergency deployment in just 8 days. These examples prove that naval rapid deployment is not just theoretical. It is a tested, proven capability. These floating cities, each carrying over 7,500 personnel and enough firepower to rival entire air forces, can move 700+ miles per day while maintaining complete combat readiness. The strategic positioning of these forces ensures that American naval power can respond to crisis or support allies anywhere on Earth faster than any potential adversary can react. The Fleet Response Plan's 3+3+1 readiness system, combined with forward deployed forces and advanced logistics, gives the United States a naval advantage that helps maintain global stability and protect international commerce. When you see news of American carriers conducting operations in the South China Sea, Mediterranean, or Red Sea, you are witnessing the most advanced rapid deployment system ever created. The men and women serving aboard these vessels, from the pilots launching from carrier decks to the engineers maintaining nuclear reactors, represent the best of American military excellence. Their dedication to maintaining this incredible capability ensures that freedom of navigation remains protected worldwide. The next time you hear about a carrier strike group deployment, you will understand the remarkable coordination, speed, and strategic thinking that makes it possible. These are not just ships moving across the ocean. They are symbols of American resolve and technological superiority that help keep the world's sea lanes open and secure.